Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers and sisters in Islam, welcome to yet another live stream from the channel, the Muslim Apologist. I'm your host, MENJ. So, yes, usually this would be, your weekly live stream. Usually I have this live stream for those who want to join and, ask, or have a discussion or have a dialogue regarding anything about religion or Islam. So, but today I'm going to change the format a bit because today we have two guests. One is a brother, Smith, and someone from America, a former Christian. And they have asked me to, bring them on this platform so that they can have an open discussion regarding religion, regarding atheism, and so on. So I'm going to bring them on right now on the screen when they are ready. Please give me a thumbs up if you are ready, all right? So, yeah, all right. Okay, I see Jesse giving me a thumbs up. So I'm going to add both to the stream right now. Yeah, so hello there, Jesse.
Hey, what's up, brother?
Yes, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure you haven't heard of my channel, the Muslim Apologist, before Smith told you about it. So basically, what I do here is I do apologetics for Islam against other religions, mostly Christianity and Judaism, from an Islamic perspective. Right. So, but today is a special thing because Smith has asked me to, host you, so that both of you can have a discussion regarding atheism. So I don't usually do discussions on atheism on this channel because I personally I don't get involved into atheism, but it's fine because I'm doing this as a favor for a friend, and I'm also interested to hear your side of things as well. So it will be good to hear something different from Christianity and the other religions that I usually touch upon. So yeah, just waiting for Smith. Smith here, Brother Smith, are you online?
Yeah, Assalamualaikum guys.
Okay.
Yeah, give me a second. I'm having a problem with my video though.
All right.
Give me a second.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So while we're waiting for Smith, maybe Jesse, maybe you can introduce yourself. Maybe you can explain to me what your beliefs are currently, what were they before, and how do you come to this conclusion today?
Yeah. To atheism, you mean? Oh, okay.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I live in Alabama, United States. I was raised as a Christian. I'm almost 40 years old, and I was probably 25 before I really even realized you could question religion. Like it just never even occurred to me to actually scrutinize anything about it. I guess when you're raised, and it all makes sense to you, so there's kind of no need to question it, I guess. And then I saw one of the Zeitgeist movies. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of that, but a lot of the stuff in the movie I knew was wrong because I'm real into history, so I didn't really agree with what the movie was making comparisons with, like Jesus and horrors from Egypt and stuff, and I knew that was kind of false. But at the same time, it made me realize, like, I've never even thought to actually scrutinize religion. It just never really even occurred to me that you could, you know what I mean? So then I actually started questioning things, but I've been obsessed with history since I was a young kid. And then I guess, when you believe something and one pillar kind of falls down, it's kind of a domino effect. And then it's kind of like, oh man, this and that.
All right.
But, I was probably 20, I don't know, 25, 26 maybe. I kind of went from fundamentalist Christian to a lot looser Christian. Like, okay, now evolution might be true, so I'm kind of incorporating that. Then I went to kind of like agnostic, and then straight, not straight, to, but then I ended up being atheist in the long story short, I guess.
All right. Understood. So So what are the fundamental problems that you find in Christianity that made you decide to switch out of it, so to speak? What were the things that really disturbed you so much in Christianity that you feel that you couldn't be part of this faith anymore?
Well, it really wasn't just one thing. I guess the very first thing I noticed that didn't make sense to me was one of the first things I noticed was the story of Moses, the Exodus and stuff like that. Well, anyway, I was reading a lot about Sumerian history, and I don't know if you've ever heard of Sargon of Akkad, but he was the first known conqueror of history. Well, his birth story, which who knows where it came from. Nobody, I don't even think they really know what his real name was. But anyway,
Okay.
his birth story was that his village was attacked. So when his village was attacked by their enemies, his mother put him in a basket and floated him down the river, where he was found by royalty and raised down the river, and then led a rebellion later on. And I thought, man,
Okay.
the story
Okay.
sounds really familiar. You know what I mean? It's
All right. Okay. Okay.
but that was one of the first things that
okay.
didn't add up to me.
You can share. Yeah. Maybe there are other things as well you would like to share. I'm curious to know.
Well, that was just one of them. But then I got into science later on after history or with history and stuff like that. And, there was a whole bunch of pillars that came down for me, like the history of the Bible and stuff like that.
All right. Okay. Fair enough. Okay. So I think I'll let Smith take over once he's ready to
give me a sec, guys. Give me a sec.
You're still not ready yet?
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. Give me a sec.
Okay. In the meantime, I'm going to read the comments in the chat, all right? Because there are about 3 viewers right now, and there's actually a lot of comments here in the chat. Okay. Looking forward to watching. All right, sure. All right. So, Assalamualaikum. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullah. Yeah. MENJ, make more refutation videos. Yes, I will once I get my camera. Do you have Insta? Yes, I do. Just type the Muslim Apologist in Instagram and you will find my my Insta. Okay. Someone said, I think referring to you, Jesse, Texas accent. Is that true?
I was born in Texas.
All right. Okay, that makes sense then. All right.
Good call. Most people here guess Tennessee, but same difference.
Yeah, I see. All right. Okay. So then someone here says Salam Alaikum Salam. Oh, there's someone here from the US, Brian Bradley. He's a frequent viewer of my channel. So he says LOL. I don't know why he's LOLing. Maybe he wasn't expecting a fellow American to come on my stream. Yeah. Oh, by the way, just so you know, I think not many people know this. This is mine. Yeah, this is mine. So I was born in the States, but I was never raised there.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Interesting food for thought, isn't it? I'm actually an American.
Yeah, you don't sound like one.
I definitely do not sound like one. All right, I definitely do not sound like one. But I was born there. It's just that I wasn't raised there. That's all. That's the difference, right?
Do you have dual citizenship where you're at now?
That's something I might want to pursue in the future, but not at the moment because I'm not really sure how the paperwork goes. Because it's not the problem is not on my side. The problem is actually the problem is not on their side. Perhaps it's on my side because I need to sort out documentation and so on. I need to figure out how it works. Okay. So this passport that I showed you it expired like 2 decades ago. So I don't know how would I want to renew it.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
There's some background music behind you, Smith. I don't know why is your window upside down.
No, that's not a window. I mean, that's a light.
Oh, okay.
Oh, in a window, that's a light.
Okay. All right. Okay. I was wondering why is it upside down? Okay. So just set everything up. Once you're ready, we can start. Right? There's 4 viewers right now on the stream. Yeah. You actually have quite an audience now. And I think as the discussion progresses, there will be more. Yeah.
Smeed, I just want to tell you, I'm not gay or anything, but you are one good-looking man.
Hey, thanks, man. Thanks.
I'm so jealous of your hair.
Really? Oh, man, thanks.
Not even kidding.
Well, I ain't gay, but I think you're one good-looking man too.
Oh, well. Thanks for saying that.
All right. Yeah. So whenever Smith is ready, we can start.
It becomes really soft. I don't know for what reason, but when I plug this headphones,
Smith, there's an echo. Smith, there's an echo on your side. Smith, there's an echo on your side. You need to fix that. Yeah, there's an echo on his side. I don't know what's happening. Brian is laughing. I don't know, Brian. Why are you laughing? I don't understand. Okay.
He's probably laughing at my accent.
Yeah, but I know for a fact that he's American. I'm not really sure which part of America though. Yeah, I think probably in Washington. I think if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, in DC. Yeah, probably in DC, if I'm not mistaken. He did
Oh,
mention
okay.
something about working in DC. Yeah, yeah. So okay.
You're still getting an ex? Are you still getting? Are you still getting an echo?
A slight echo. It's lesser than
Okay.
before, but it's still there. Yeah. Are you in a parking lot or something?
No, I'm actually going out. So I'm going to be having this conversation with you, Jesse. On my way out. I'm going to be
Oh,
doing
you're
some
outside.
shopping and all that.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
I'm actually,
Okay. This
so
better.
what I'm going to be doing today, I'm actually going to shop for my future wedding.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
congratulations.
Okay. All right. Congratulations.
Thanks. So
But
I'm gonna go and get my things, but you know us guys, man, we just have to be there. I'll let my future wife choose everything. I reckon she's gonna get things done much more better than me because I'll just end up in the arcade somewhere, bro.
Yeah, guys are
all right.
supposed to just shut up and stand there and say yes, dear.
Yep.
All right. So yeah. So Smith, you want to continue the conversation? I'll just take a back seat then.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. So um, let me just start this. So Assalamu alaikum. Bismillah. Alhamdulillah. Salatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So yeah. So we're going to be discussing on the whole idea of, is there an existence of God, or is it much more rational? Is it much more logical to believe in an existence of a creator before we even go into God, right? A creator, first cause, a singularity, whatever you want to call it. We're going to be looking at reasons from both Jesse and myself. Um, to support our worldview, our reasons why we believe what we believe, right? Obviously, this is not to say anyone is smart or not smart, intelligent or not intelligent. It's just about, you know, looking at your worldview and trying to understand the reasons of why certain things, why you believe certain things, right, to be true rather than not. Like for example, if I were to give an example, right? Let me just ask Chris here. Sorry, let me just ask Jesse here. Jesse, bro. So before Everest was known to be the tallest mountain in the world, what was the tallest mountain in the world?
I have no idea.
It would be Everest, wouldn't it? The fact that we did not know doesn't make it that it wasn't the tallest mountain at any point. It was always the
Oh,
tallest mountain,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's the thing, right? Just because we don't know of certain facts doesn't negate of the facts, right? It just says that we are ignorant towards something, and that's the reason why we don't know, right? So what I would say is, as a Muslim, as a convert to Muslim for 20 years now, I come from a Sikhism sect background. Yeah, I believe that the belief in the existence of a God is much more rational rather than not. It's much more rational rather than not, just because when we look at certain aspects of how the world is been tuned, you know, the universe and so on. I'm not going to go so deep into this yet. But for me, the way I look at it, that the universe could not have just come into existence out of nothing. I don't believe that. I don't think so. Science believes that. So you need to have some kind of a rational, logical explanation uh, on how the whole universe actually was brought into existence. And for me, as I say, the universe could not have could not have like gave birth of itself, because that's going to be really messy, isn't it? So it needed something that's much more powerful, something that's much more intelligent to bring it into existence. And I would say that would be the first cause or the creator. What do you think about that, Jesse?
I think it's all logical. I guess it depends on how you look at those. What you think happened at the start of the universe? Was there nothing there before? Or was there something there before and then it changed to us? Or was there nothing and then God made something? It's all perspective, really.
Yeah. So what would be much more logical, Jesse, for you to look into or to accept as truth, right? Would you like, if I told you the universe came into reality out of nothing, would you believe that? Would you
No,
believe that, right? Because
no, I'm sorry.
nothing.
I thought you were done. I'm sorry.
Would you believe nothing can create something?
No.
No, right? Because that's very ridiculous. So to say that, then you would say that there was probably always something.
Yeah.
I'm not going to. At this point, I'm not talking about God. I'm not talking about anything like that. This something could be anything, right? It could be like what Richard Dawkins proposed to say, that it's an energy, or it could be like what the Buddhists believe is just, whatever it is, So I'm not talking about God at this point yet.
Right,
But
right.
would you believe, what do you think that thing was that brought the universe into existence?
Well, I don't know personally. I don't claim to know a lot about the Big Bang and start of the universe. I don't think that's something anybody can know for sure because we don't have a way to look into it. But if you go by the laws of thermodynamics, energy can't be created or destroyed. That on top of, I don't think there was ever nothing to start with. There was always something. We just don't have a way to know what it was. But that's just me. I don't claim to know a whole lot about it, really. It's not my field, one of my favorite fields of study, I don't guess. But I mean, I wouldn't say there was nothing there. Whether what was there before, I have no clue. I can't even begin to guess on something like that. But I would say there was definitely something. If you go by the singularity, that the universe condensed down to a small point and then started expanding. I don't. Maybe it was something there before that instead of an expanding universe, maybe it contracted and then bounced back out. Like, I don't know. I'm just taking a guess here. But most people, I think, have a misunderstanding of it. Like the Big Bang, the name of it was actually meant as an insult from one of the first guys that heard about it. He thought it sounded crazy. So he said, when he heard the idea, he said, well, it sounds like there was just a big old bang, but it's more like an expansion, like in a bubble. Like, I wouldn't say energy and matter was necessarily created. It was more like unleashed, I guess. But that's kind of my stand on that kind of thing there. But you can add, I don't think God's illogical at all. I mean, it's anybody's guess, really. So that's
you think, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I made my point.
Yeah. So you say that energy can't be created or destroyed. You forgot to add in a closed system. So
yeah.
Energy can be created or destroyed in a closed system according to the law of thermodynamics. Then you say that there was always something. Then it's anyone's guess. I would say, yeah. When we come to a certain question where we can't look at, or we can't use science no longer to give us any kind of answers, logic then has to come into the frame. Like, for example, if I were to ask you, how do you believe, right? Or do you believe that your father is your father, your mother is your mother, right? You can tell me that, yeah, I can get a DNA test, but then I could be hyper skeptical and say that, well, you know what, a DNA test could be fabricated. I could pay the doctor off, right? So what would be much more reasonable than even a DNA test is for you to like look at your dad and look at your mom, and you'll take testimonies from your family saying that, you know what, Jesse, yeah, I was there, when you were born, I was there with your mom. I don't, and you would say, I don't believe that my mom was was going around, and I look like my dad, I look like my dad. I share the same interest with him. It is much more possible for me, to be the son of my father rather than not. So these are all really strong reasons why you can come to a conclusion that your father is your father rather than he's not, right? So using that same law, I'm going to explain why I believe that a first cause actually exists, and that atheism is a irrational belief or irrational position to hold. Of course, by saying that, I don't mean no disrespect to no one.
No, I understand. It's a yeah. Go ahead, man. Yeah, I'm a happy person. I don't get mad about nothing, man. We're just talking. Yeah.
So the very first thing that when sorry, who's that?
I
Oh, I'm
didn't say
sorry.
that.
All right. So the very first thing that I would say is that when you look into the idea of a first cause or a first, creator, however you want to name it, I'm going to ask you first, Jesse. Have you heard about infinite regression?
Hmm?
Do you know what is infinite regression?
So kind of, sort of, yeah. I got the basic gist of it.
Yeah. So infinite regression says this, right? If I had I have a father, my father before me have another father, and his father before him, and time goes back, so on, it just goes back, goes back, goes back, goes back. Now imagine time going back infinitely. It would be impossible for you, for the Muslim apologist, and for me, or for anyone else to be here at this moment, right? Because time would have gone back infinitely without any stop. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So time had to stop at some point. Okay, it had to stop at some point, and then from there everything goes back down. Everything was created. Take I guess another analogy that I would give. Take the dominoes, the dominoes, right? You need someone to push the first dominoes, or air, or any type of energy or power or any kind of thing to push the first dominoes before all the rest of the dominoes can fall down. Yeah. So that's a very logical explanation that science has given to us, and why people like Einstein, people like Stephen Hopkins, um, believe that the world had to have some kind of energy before it started to kickstart the whole creation process, right? So but the thing now is that does not mean that this initial kickstarter, right, is a god. Because when you say god, he's got attributes. He's all intelligent, he's all merciful, and so on and so forth. um the next thing now, let's go from here on. Let's see that if I told you that whatever this energy is, whatever this thing is, right, that's the first, it had to be intelligent. Like it had to know things, what it was doing. Because, for example, you're a tattoo artist, right? You're a tattoo artist. If I've never done a single tattoo in my life, and I can't draw, I can't even draw. Forget about it, man. Like I can't draw at all. I'm really bad at it. If I were to do a tattoo, you who have experience, you would be able to look at that tattoo, and you would be able to tell me, bro, I think you should just stop doing what you're doing, man, because you just don't have it, right? Or you would be able to look at it and say, wait, this guy has got a real good experience. He knows what he's doing, right? You can conclude from that. You don't have to even see me. You just have to see what I've created, what I've drawn, right? For you to know if I'm good at what I'm doing, that I know what I'm doing, or if I'm just, don't even know what I'm doing, right? Just through your experience, just through your logic, through your understanding, you can look at it and you can know, right? Like
Yeah.
someone baking a cake. The cake has to taste good. It has to look good, right? If it tastes bad and looks bad, well, the guy doesn't know what he's doing. So when we look at the way the world is shaped, the way the world is done, the way life is, when we talk about DNA, when we talk about cell structure and all this, right? Is it much more possible, right, that it is just a random things, randomly by chance everything just came about, right? Or is it much more intelligent to come to a conclusion that whatever this creator is knows what it's doing. And because it knows what it's doing, that means it shows that this creator has intelligence. Still not God. We're saying that this creator has intelligence. Which position would you go for?
Well, when you put them like that, I would say the most intelligent one is the creator. But I guess it just depends too on how you look at it. Natural occurrence, you know what I mean? Like when you say random, or a lot of people use the term accident, like was it an accident? But an accident implies like an outcome you didn't expect, the wrong thing, you know what I mean? But there's no accidents in nature. Like when a tornado or a hurricane comes up, it's a result of certain forces being met in nature that created that thing. To me, like I said, I don't really know, but to me, like the beginning of the universe would be some sort of circumstance that certain conditions were met, and then something else resulted in that, like the expansion or whatever, the Big Bang, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I do think it's logical. Like if there was a creator who created everything, then yeah, they were definitely intelligent, knew what they were doing. Yeah, it would. If there's a creator, it would have to be an intelligent one. I mean, it wouldn't make any sense to say there's a creator, but he was stupid.
Exactly. So what I'm saying is that when you say that there's a creator and that's why things happen in a certain way, that's why things are done in a fine-tuning way, and to believe that it all just took chance, right? It all just takes chances. That's like saying this, right, Jesse? That's like saying this. Get this. If I gave a monkey a bottle of ink and a piece of paper, and I expect that the monkey could come out with a literature that of William Shakespeare, right? It doesn't make sense. It's not. It's never going to happen, right? Although, but you can still say that, yeah, sure, there's a chance, but there's a chance for everything, right? There's a chance for a man to try to fly without anything, right?
Yeah. I think he lost signal in the elevator there.
Uh-oh, I think he kind of froze on the screen.
Yeah, he went in the elevator.
Okay, I think Brother Smith, are you still there? Hello? Hello?
He'll probably come back in a minute when he gets out of that elevator.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. So in the meantime, while waiting for him, yeah. So what do you think so far, Jesse?
Oh yeah, it was a good conversation so far. I still he got cut off in the middle there, so I'm kind of stumped on where where he was going with that part.
Yeah, because he's outside, so I think he went into an area where there was no signal for his data, for his phone data. So it could be while he was entering that premises, his signal got cut off, and that's why he froze down on screen. Because this happens a lot in Malaysia. So yeah, it could be. I think he's in some building right now. Yeah, so it could be that the premises does not have a good coverage. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, in the meantime, maybe I can read the comment. There's a lot of comments, Jesse.
Oh, cool.
A lot of comments. Yeah. Oh, I think Smith's back, but he's using a different account. Wait, hang on. All right, you're back.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh no, you froze.
Can you hear me?
You're okay. You're lagging a bit. Yeah, I can hear you now.
You can hear me?
You're lagging a bit. Yes, loud and clear. Loud and clear.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, yes, loud and clear.
Yeah.
Loud and clear.
All right, cool.
Oops, you froze again, bro. That's such a classic pose. Okay, you froze. Oh, sorry, he went out. He went off again. I think there's something wrong with his internet connection. Yeah, so anyway, in the meantime, I was going to share some comments. There's a lot of comments right now, Jesse, and Smith. If you're listening to this, there's a lot of comments right now. There's 6 viewers right now watching this stream, by the way. It's quite interesting. And then this comment by brother Ishak. So where's brother Manny Pakoyo gone? I don't know who he's referring to. Ishak again. Someone has to put or create the laws of physics for the universe to begin. Okay. And then Palestinian stars. No design without a designer. And then Brian from Washington State, by the way, I stand corrected because previously I said that he was from Washington, D.C. As it turns out, he's from Washington State, right? So Brian Bradley, does a drop have a designer? Okay, so okay, I'm back. Smith's back. Hello.
Yeah.
Again, Assalamualaikum. Are you there?
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Like, I'm having the worst internet day ever.
I think you should find a spot to sit down and start recording, bro. Because if you're going to move around, then this is going to happen.
Okay. I'm just gonna. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to off the camera so that the bandwidth will be better.
All right. Yeah, that might work. All right. Yeah.
Okay. No, because I'm actually using the same internet source, so it doesn't matter if I move or not. It's gonna be the same,
okay,
actually.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So you want to continue the discussion?
I apologize for that. Yeah, I apologize for that, Jesse, bro. I apologize for that.
All right. Yeah, you were saying something about the Monkey and Shakespeare.
Yeah. Cool. So as I was saying, if we're gonna just come to a conclusion and say that, hey, you know what, the whole universe was just created out of chance, out of randomness, that's like saying that a tortoise or a turtle or a fish or whatever could have created something the likes. Oh, they could have created something the likes of what the works of what Newton or Einstein have done, which is, if you're going to argue and say, or if anyone's going to argue and say that, well, you know what, there is a chance, okay, fine, but probability wise, when we take into probabilityness, it's probably not very sensible, not very intelligent, not very logical to come to that conclusion. You get what I mean? So this first cause now has it set up, everything seems to be tuned very finely. Seems to be tuned very, very finely for life and for other things. And that's why when we look into other planets, we don't find life the way we find life over here on this earth. Would you agree with that, Jesse?
Yeah.
Am I lagging or?
No, I heard you. I thought you had more to add. I said, yeah, I answered. I said, yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Okay, so that sounds reasonable, right? Okay, so the next thing is, because this creator is intelligent, and we've come to that, we can understand that he has to be conscious. He can't be intelligent without consciousness, can he?
I suppose not.
Right? So he has to be conscious. No, I mean, let's not go on the from what we know, right, Jesse, as how far we have come with science and all on all our observations. Can something that is unconscious, without consciousness, when I say unconscious without consciousness, I don't mean sleeping, right? I mean without consciousness, can something without consciousness create something intelligent logically?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Logically, I guess not. No.
So what I'm saying is that, right, logically, definitely, and I agree with you. I definitely do agree with you. So it's conscious. is intelligent, right? And if it can bring something or create something, it must then by necessary have a will to do so, right? Because if you don't have a will, or nothing has a will, it will do nothing.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, if there is a creator,
does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. I mean, if there is a creator, it would have to be an intelligent mind. I guess the whole debate would lie
So
on if it's creation or
notice
not.
what's happened here. We've put so notice what's happened here, Jesse. Where from where we started to where we have come. We've started with the infinite regress, that something had to always be there, right? It had to always exist, and still, this is not God yet. It could be anything at this point. And moving forward, we know that it's conscious. Logically, it has to be conscious. Logically, it has to have intelligence. Okay, logically, it has to have a will. Now, I'm going to make a assertion here and say, to us theists, this is what we believe is God. Although there is 100 other more attributes to attribute to God, but having this thing itself now, we can't say that it's just an energy without an intelligence. It's just an energy without consciousness. It's just an energy without anything. So this first cause now can't be just an energy. It has to be something else other than energy, right? Because we logically come to a conclusion here uh, that it has to have consciousness and so on and so forth. What I would say is, when an atheist friend asks me to show him God, the problem I find is that I find a contradiction in the atheist worldview. And the contradiction is this: when it comes to God, you atheist wants to see God. But when it comes to consciousness itself, atheists don't need to see consciousness or to touch consciousness or to taste consciousness, yet they believe consciousness does exist. So to me, that's a contradiction, or a double standard in the whole in the system of holding things, right, and understanding things. Because when it's consciousness, I believe part of God is consciousness. Part of the attributes of God is consciousness, as we established before. So, what do you think about that?
If I understood you right, I would just say I know that I have consciousness because I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I can see my own consciousness. I think, therefore, I am, I guess, to quote Shakespeare. But I wouldn't necessarily apply that to, since I have consciousness, it means a creator must also have consciousness by default, I guess. Is that what you mean? You there?
Yeah. So what is you say, and just because you have consciousness, that doesn't mean the creator has consciousness. But we already agreed that the creator does has consciousness. If you just backtrack a little bit,
I would think it would, but
right? If you just backtrack a little bit, we already said that in order for the creator to even create anything, right, intelligently, it must have consciousness. So we already agreed on that.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So what I'm saying is that just because you can't see something, right, doesn't mean it does not exist. Like, for example, just because you can't see gravity, right, does not necessitate that it or negate its existence.
Right. Yeah,
You get what I mean?
can't see
So,
gravity, but we can
going back to
measure
the
its
very,
effects. Yeah.
you can't measure. How are you going to measure intelligence?
IQ
Or
test.
how are you going to measure rather to make it? Yeah, rather to make it much more logical. How are you going to measure consciousness?
I
Right.
mean, I don't know
So even
personally.
if you say,
I'm sorry.
so even if you say that we can measure intelligence by IQ test, we're going to see the results of the IQ test to be in order to measure it, right? We'll have to see the results. So once
Yeah.
again, we go back to the fine-tuning argument and we look at the results of how this world is created, how every single atom is created. Why are animal has much more lesser intelligence rather than men? You know, so these are all effects of things, right? These are all things that we can actually measure. We can see and we can know. If someone is going to say that, hey, look, you know what, a dog just really acts out of his own nature. I don't think so, because when we look at a dog or when we look at a lion or a tiger, we know that they have got certain amount of intelligence. It's not just the nature to hunt and do stuff. They have certain amount of intelligence. A dog could help a dying man, right? He knows, like he has that amount of awareness, right, in his brain, to come to an understanding that his owner or a man is in certain amount of problem, and and that man would need help, and the dog himself can't help him. So the dog goes and runs up and gets other people to come, right? That's
Yeah.
intelligence. But if I were to ask a dog to create a phone, like an iPhone, or create a rocket, right? It's not going to be very logical for me to ask a dog to create a rocket, because although dogs do have their intelligence, but the intelligence level does not give them the ability to create a rocket.
No, they don't have thumbs or hands anyway. So
Correct, right? They want to be able to even perceive what is universe and how to create the rocket, what is gravity, and the gravity hole outside of the ozone layer and all that. Right? So human beings have got a different level of intelligence. So if everything happened just randomly, then what we will see is we will see a whole bunch of mess. Right? What makes much more logical than it would be that the whole world would be in much more of a mess, rather than it being so well fine tuned. Hello?
hey, I'm sorry. I thought your wife was talking to you
No, 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 no,
or your fiance. I'm sorry.
no.
I thought you probably talked to her. Uh, yeah. If you're under the belief there's a creator, I mean, that all makes perfect sense. It just comes down to a difference of, I guess how you think things started, or if things are actually fine tuned. It's all just perception, really. Obviously everybody's different. I mean, you can show one person a picture of something and they'll say it's one thing, and you show it to the next person and it's going to be something completely different. You know what I mean? Even though they're looking at the same picture, you'll still have different philosophies and stuff about what you think it means, But I guess the universe and creation and everything's the same way. Different religions have different gods doing different things. Like in a different religion, there might be a god whose specific job was to make planets, and then another god whose specific job was to make stars. So, I mean, in the same way that you explain a single creator, you can explain it the same way with a bunch of different creators too. Would you agree with that?
No, I wouldn't. And I'll tell you why. You see, if you have many creators, what you're going to have is you're gonna have a disharmony in those creators. Because what if I told you, one God wants to make the sun this way, and the other God wants to make the sun that way. So now we are we have two different gods arguing with one another, right?
Well, if
And
they had the same job, they would. But I mean, if one god's specific job was to make suns, and the other gods had no input, and the other gods made planets, and the other gods made shooting stars or air or whatever, they're all kind of working together still. They're not really arguing with each other. They all just have a job to do. You know what I mean? Does
yeah,
that make more sense?
you could say that, but still, again, one creator could have the only job for him to do is to create the stars, okay, and the stars has been created, it's over, it's done, right? So the problem we have with that is we would still have a contradiction in coming to one single idea, right? So again, the world will still not be tuned so finely in a certain way, right? If we have more than one of the things. And that's the reason why you would see, even today, normal world, right? Normal world, you would see in a company, let's say Intel, or let's say what should I say? I don't know if Microsoft is still alive. I hope Microsoft is still alive.
Yeah.
So Microsoft, yeah. So the founder of Microsoft is Bill Gates, right? So he founded Microsoft, and he was the initial person to kickstart Microsoft. It is his idea, right? It is his idea. Now, if anyone else would have come in and say, you know what, Bill Gates, you know what, Bill, I don't want it to be like this. I want it to be like this, right? Or I want it to be like this, or I want it to be like this. Microsoft then, hence, is never going to reach to a certain conclusion on how Bill Gates wants it to be, because the idea of Microsoft comes from one individual. It comes from Bill Gates, and then he shares it with everyone else. Look, this is what I want it to be. Right? This is how it should be. Even in creating a movie, we might have ideas from other directors or however the movie world works, but the director has the end say. He has the end say, like, no, I want it to be like this. It has to be like this. This must be the way. And that's it. Right? So it means in authority, God has to be one. And only his idea is the only idea, because if we do have multiple gods going down the line, we will at some point come to a disharmony, where there's a disagreement or a different will, right? One God has a different will, the other God has a different will. So now you've got two gods with two different wills. Add a bunch of other gods into that system, you have a bunch of different wills, right? It's not, we're not going to be in harmony at all. You're going to see exactly the way wars have been take place on this earth, right? Just because of different ideology, different understanding, one being stronger than the other. You're going to get the same thing with all the other gods. Therefore, logically, God has to be one, so that you don't get all these separate different problems of different wills and different understanding, and me being stronger than you or you being stronger than me. That's one. Number two, if you were to postulate to say that, look, this God he does this God does this God does this. Then my question would be, who's the authority to say you do the stars and you do the universe and you do the air and you do the gravity, right? There needs to you still need someone right up there who has the idea of all this. You need to create gravity, you need to create star, you need to create air, and then this person telling the other people to do what they need to do. So again, you come back to the only idea of you have to only have one source of something. Does it make sense to you?
Yeah. If you look at it that way, it was just like I was saying. There's a few different ways you can pitch these kind of stories. you could say something like maybe you got the mastermind god, like just say Zeus, for example. Say Zeus is the mastermind of everything, but the only power he might have is to tell the other gods what their job is, and then maybe they have the power to do it or something like that. But there's no real argument of how to make anything. He's don't really have the power to create it, but he has the power to dictate to the other gods what their job is, something like that. There's just so many different scenarios I can come up with in my mind how it could logically all make sense. But would you agree that just because something is logical doesn't necessarily mean it's true, though, right?
Something logical through facts has to be true. You can tell that with a belief, yes. You can hold a belief to be true or untrue, because belief doesn't need proof for it to be true, because it's a belief. But when it's a fact out of logic, then it can't be any other way.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm just saying, I'm trying to think of an example. I'm not a real well-spoken or smart person, but
no problem.
Let me try to. Well, let's say something's wrong with my car. Say it won't start because the lights won't come on. It's logical to think that it's probably the battery because it's not getting any power, but it might not be the battery. It could just be a bad wire somewhere. So I've used logic to determine the problem, but I was still wrong. So that's why I'm saying logic doesn't necessarily mean something's true just because it's logical in itself. But yeah, you're right. A fact's a fact, and a belief is a belief for sure. I'm just saying logic doesn't necessarily make something true. Does that make sense?
No, I'll tell you why. So if I will use your analogy, right?
Yeah.
So if I start a car and my lights are not on when I on them, I'm going to believe that like you said, maybe the bulb has blown, right? I'm going to believe that. I don't need proof for that, but what happens is when I check the bulb is not blown. So then I'm going to go to a different belief. Okay, maybe the problem with the wiring, right? What a fact is this: I start my car, I on my lights, the lights is not on. I go and check the bulb, right? And the bulb has been blown. That is facts. That's fact, right? And that's logic, right? So I can come to a conclusion looking at something and saying that, okay, wait, maybe the bulb has been blown, and when I go and check it, the bulb is blown. And now it's no longer just a belief, right? It's fact, it's true. But that is something in the physical world, Jesse, and I agree with you. In the physical world, we can do that. But when we're talking about something in the metaphysical world, we can't use something like science, because science becomes crippled. Science becomes very crippled to study a metaphysical world, because science deals only in the physical world, right? Science is something that you can look and collect data through observation, right? How are you going to collect data of something that you can't observe, like your soul, for example, like your like once again gravity and consciousness, for example? You can only come to a certain amount of conclusion before inserting logic and say that, wait, this might be the reason, this is the most plausible reason. And that's why, if you remember, Jesse, at the beginning I said, is it much more reasonable to believe that a God exists rather than not, right? So that's the reason why I use those words. Yeah, that's the reason why I use those words. Is it much more logical? Is it much more reasonable? Yeah.
Yeah, and I most of my life I thought the exact same thing. I just arrived at different conclusions now. The whole point of atheism is not to believe things without a reason, and like with the kind of like I said at the beginning there when I said I don't know what started the Big Bang. You know what I mean? That's the whole proposition is when you don't know, you say you don't know instead of asserting a belief. I guess is the whole point of atheism. But like I said, I don't consider it irrational or illogical in any shape or form if you consider there was a creator there. And I mean, to me, like I said, it's anybody's guess as to what was going on before. But from my perspective, especially in like just in the last probably 30 years, the way science has gone, every scientific discovery ever made had a natural explanation. So to me, it's kind of not even putting science into it. It's just saying if you can explain literally everything in science with a natural explanation, it doesn't make much logical sense to say that the next thing should be a supernatural explanation. To me, it would be like saying every blade of grass ever grown was green, but for some reason, I think the next one's going to be a blue one. You know what I mean? It's kind of that scenario, I guess. That makes sense.
I understand where you what you're saying, Jesse. The reason is it feels like we're going into a circular argument because I've already covered this part. So if you remember previously, what I said is that so when you say that it's logical or science have a understanding of explain things, there are many things that science have not explained. Science have not explained how a consciousness works.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, does not explain that. Science have not explained how different. Why is that there are different levels of intelligence? Why is one person much more intelligent than the other, right? So there are many things that science have not come to a conclusion and explain. And I'm not saying that if we don't know, we just say that hey, okay, like since we don't know, so therefore God. And that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, yeah. What I am saying though is, if we don't know, we should not then just say, "Look, listen, I don't know," and that's the end of it, right? Let's look at things. Let's study at things. Let's come to a understanding of what we can come to. Like we don't just say we don't know and everything. We stop our mental capacity right there. We stop our thinking capacity right there. uh, okay, fine, we don't know what happened, but let's see what is the most logical explanation that we can come to. What's the most reasonable explanation that we can come to through evidence, right?
Yeah, that's
So
what we're up to. Yeah.
yeah, and so that's why I would say that, like, for example, when I gave the cake analogy, right? You, if you walk into a room, you see a cake lying on the table. Number one, you don't have to go very far. You don't have to say I don't know, but what you can definitely know is someone did make the cake, although there's no one there, right? You don't have to say, well, there's no one here, so I don't know what happened. Probably the cake just came out of thin air, because that would be illogical thing, right? So
Yeah.
even though you walk into a room and you see there's no one there, and you can easily come to a conclusion, a very logical conclusion, and say, well, someone baked the cake and left it here, right? And upon looking at the cake, the way it's structured, the way it's prepared, the way it's done, it looks wonderful. It tastes beautiful. It tastes delicious. Again, you can come to a logical conclusion. Well, whoever who made this cake, whoever baked this cake, definitely know what he was doing or what she was doing, right? Because I mean, obviously, someone who have never baked a cake before would not produce something as good as someone who have been baking cake for the last 10 years.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, I would just say if I saw a cake that's a man-made object, I would know him. You never see a perfectly made cake laying in the middle of a forest under a waterfall or dig one up out of the ground or something like that. So I would look at a cake and know that it was made, but I wouldn't necessarily look at a rock or a tree and think a man made that, or necessarily that it had a creator. Although I did used to.
Yeah.
So I know where I'm on both sides of the argument here as well. I've made the argument for both sides myself. So yeah, so
Yeah,
it's hard.
Yeah, kind of making my argument for me there. So yeah, Jesse. So even when you look at a rock today, I mean today, we can come to a conclusion when we walk into a forest. There's so many rocks that we don't even think where the rock came from, because we know that that's just how it is, right? Rocks would be there, stones would be here, and sand would be there, and so on. But when we go back in time and we look at the whole creation of the universe, now again it's the same problem, right? If you're going to assert that, wait, look, I know a cake could have not just come out of thin air, but what I could definitely also know that someone created the cake, someone baked it, right? So it couldn't have just come out of thin air, or something like that. So then what the problem we face with this is, well, where did the universe come from then? The universe just created itself out of nothing. It should have a creator. And we've gone through all this, right? It could have a creator, and this creator has to be intelligent, and this creator has to be has to have common sense. Sorry, the creator has to have what's the word? Consciousness, right? And he has to have a will. So we've gone through all this, Jesse. Yeah, you're just going back and you're repeating yourself. To be honest, you're repeating yourself over things that we have already discussed and come to an agreement.
What did I repeat myself on?
You said that a cake, right?
Yeah.
If it's in the middle of the forest and you see it, because it's a man-made product, so you can say that it is made by man. It did not just come out of thin air, right? When we have already actually discussed this earlier, to say that the universe could not have just come out into thin air out of nothing. It needs something to have brought it into existence. And then that was where we spoke about the infinite regress idea, right? That time it had to stop at some point, and then we looked at this point and we spoke on if this first cause has intelligence, right? And then we spoke about the whole idea on how the world was created, the universe was created, fine tuning, and so on. And we came to an understanding that yes, this creator probably does know what he's doing, which shows intelligence, right? And if he is creating, and when he is creating, that shows that he has a will, right? And if he has a will and he does create, then by necessity he must have a consciousness. He must be conscious by doing that. So if we've agreed on all this, there's really no point going back and repeating the same thing again. I'm just using a different analogy.
Yeah, I was just saying, logical. If there's a creator, that was a if in front of that. But like I said, to me, it doesn't really explain anything. It's just it's like you said, you get to where we don't know, so we speculate outside, and that's what we're talking about. You know what I mean? Use logic to add in what we can't necessarily confirm for certain. But to me, there's no confirmation of anything, so it's not really that compelling of an argument to me personally anymore, because there could be a ton of causes. There could be a natural cause. There could be the supernatural one. It could have just always existed in physics. Something eternal is not out of the question at all. That, you know, and
right? You do believe that something eternal is always there, has always been there.
Well, yeah, maybe. It just depends. I don't know what it is, though. I don't know if it's a being with consciousness. I don't know if there was a universe there before that came back and then turned into another universe, and we just have the universe that we see today, or that we live in today. You know, that's where I get lost in all the
I'll make it easy for you. I'll make it easy for you, Jesse. I understand where you're coming from. You say that, you know, we can't be sure about something, right? Okay. Let me give you assurance. Okay. So we know, what do we know? We know that the universe is a fact. We know that. Okay. Now there's only three possible ways that the universe could have come to the day it is today. Number one, someone created it. or something created it. Number two, it existed eternally, right?
Yeah.
And number three, it came out of nothing. So even when you say out of, we can't be sure, we can actually boil, we can use Occam's razor to cut all the things in between and come to three understandings. It was either created, it was either there eternally, or it was either, it either came out of nothing. Now let's look at these three options. If it was there eternally, right? Well, then we have a problem because the singularity contracted, it blowed, and then the Big Bang was, it blowed into the Big Bang, and so on and so forth. Today, scientists have come to a conclusion that the universe is expanding. So, if the universe is expanding, we can then know that it is not infinite, right? It's finite because it's expanding. So if it had a beginning, it could not have been eternal because that hence the word beginning, right? And if it's expanding, then it would have an end. So it can't be eternal. So eternal goes out of the logical acceptance of human faculty. Uh, did it come out of nothing? Well, nothing can create something because nothing means the absence of everything. So it cannot bring into existence anything. So that goes out of human faculty as well. You're left now from these three most plausible options, you're only left with, well, someone, something, or some energy or whatever it is brought it into existence.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? Yeah. So yes, I agree. I understand the worldview you're coming from, that we can't be sure of whatever happened right back then because we were not there to witness it. But we can use our intelligence to come to do all these deductions and all the other deductions in the middle, which is to get rid of it is called Occam's razor. You can, if you don't know what that means already, you can just Google it and find out Occam's razor. So you get rid of all the most impossible causes and come to the most plausible conclusions, and look at each and one of that and come to the most one, right? And that is what atheist does. The problem with atheists, they're gonna stop with I don't know, and they're gonna stop there. They're just gonna stop there. They're not gonna look at any other thing. It's like, we wouldn't dare, you wouldn't dare. I don't know. There could be a God. There could not be a God. I don't care. I don't know. If you say you don't care, then that is a different argument, right? Because you don't care. Like, I don't care, right? So that's a different argument. But if you're an atheist, and if atheist works on scientific belief, looking at rationality, looking at logic, right? Then why are the atheists not going through all this? When you look at the theists actually looking at all this, where they are the ones who are doing the research and coming, wait, look, what's the most plausible conclusion? Can a monkey or a turtle actually create something like Shakespeare? Could it write an article, something like Shakespeare? The possibility of that happening is very, very low, rather than yet. So that's the argument. Actually, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I guess when it comes down to it, I really don't know. I can't prove anything. All I can do is kind of speculate on stuff. I guess everybody's that way when it comes down to it. But I just didn't land on supernatural explanation being the most logical explanation. Like I'm not even sure. How do you like if I asked you how God made the universe, how would you tell me He did it? Was it like
I don't know how God works.
thought, word kind of thing, or
I don't know. So in the Quran, what we know is that Allah says "kun fayakun." When I say so, it be, right? I believe that even if God were to explain to us how the mechanism of how he brought things into existence or how he created things, human faculty will not be able to understand it. That's like trying to explain to a child, right, who does not know or has no idea of mathematics, how algebra works. He's never going to be able to understand.
Yeah. Well,
He
in
needs to
that
go.
case, I would argue if something is incomprehensible, there's no point in even trying to comprehend it.
Yeah, but true. I agree with that. If something is incomprehensible, like how God does his work, then that's the reason why we don't ask how God does his work, because it's incomprehensible. But did God bring the universe into existence? It's something that we can come to a most logical conclusion to say the probability of a creator bringing a universe into existence is much more logical than any other. Unless, Jesse, you can tell me that there is another much more logical explanation of how the universe came into existence.
Well, to me, there would be a more logical explanation, but I wouldn't know what it is. But like I said, considering everything we know about nature has natural causes, it doesn't make sense to be that one to be a supernatural cause. Just because nobody's even been able to demonstrate that something supernatural is even possible, much less happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's my whole hang up on the thing. Like if you argue for a creator, a prime mover, you have a stronger argument than saying like it was the Christian God that has these attributes, and this is how he did it, and this is what he thinks. You know, once you start adding on stuff like that, you enter a lot more logical contradictions to things the way they're explained in religious texts, I guess.
I understand. GP. You know what? Let's schedule another session like this. It's been 1 hour 14 minutes. It's about the debate time, 1 hour 20 minutes. You know, so I've actually planned for that hour to be here. I've got to run off to do something else. But you know what, Jesse? It's been really good speaking with you.
Yeah, I
think
agree,
that
brother.
I think that you're a logical person. I think that you understand what I'm saying, but I believe that you have a hung up on this whole idea of God, right? And the next time, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna allow you to have enough of time to do the research that you need to do, to ask your friends on Facebook or who are atheists on what they believe, why they believe, and what their reasons are for their belief. And we're going to come back and we're going to have this discussion again. And I'm not going to be rude here. I'm going to refute all of that. I'm going to refute every single atheist idea that they can ever put out. I'm going to refute it all with logic, and I'm going to prove to you why theism is much more logical to accept or to hold than atheism. I'm going to do that the next time we speak.
Awesome.
Does that sound?
Yeah, totally. And I will just add that I don't know the Big Bang and cosmology is my area of least expertise. I'm much more versed on like actual biblical history and evolution and stuff like that. How the universe started, to me, that's something that would be cool to know, but it really don't make a difference in my life, I don't guess.
No problem. Take your time. Let's meet next week again. Hopefully, God willing, and take your time to study a little bit of this. We can talk about evolution, because evolution does not disprove a creator. I don't know why certain atheists go banging on the say evolution. Evolution does not disprove a creator. Uh, although you
I wouldn't argue that it does, but from a biblical perspective, it destroys at least the Bible. I don't know about the Quran. I don't know what it goes off of.
no
Evolution
problem.
definitely contradicts the Bible. I know that.
I'm not gonna anything against the Bible. I don't know. It's not that I don't know. I have studied very in-depthly on Christianity, theology, philosophy, history, but I'm not going to speak about that today. We can do that some other time.
Yes.
What I am interested to speak with you on is the existence of a creator.
Yeah.
Cool, Jesse. Thank you for your time, man. Like I appreciate your honesty. I appreciate your being respectful, because you don't have many atheists who are respectful. Most of the atheists are quite, defensive. And I'm not only saying this I'm not saying that thieves are not like that, right? Because we have our fair share of thieves who are really rude as well. Right? And I'm not speaking for them, but thank you very much for your kind words and your respect.
Yeah,
Definitely.
same to you. Same to you. I've seen how it goes on the Facebook there on the. It gets pretty
You
wild.
guys can do it up. Yeah.
Yeah, people are crazy, man.
Yeah. So, Alfie, you wanna come back in, yeah?
Yeah, I'm back. Don't worry. I've been listening to the last 10 minutes or so. Yeah, I'm back.
I almost forgot about you.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to let you guys, duke it out, and and discuss whatever it is that needs to be done. But on the point of biblical
Alfie,
history, and on the point of biblical history,
Alfie,
that's where my what is it? Yeah.
Alfie, maybe you could discuss biblical history. I don't know, Jesse, if you have time. Alfie is quite.
Why not?
I got half my battery left. So.
Cool. So you guys go ahead. I've got to get my stuff done before my wife jumps on my. I don't want to say. I don't want her to prove me that God exists, because she can send me there.
Happy wife, happy life.
Okay, good.
Right.
You go do what
Thank
you
you very much, Jesse. Thank you to everyone in the
It was
chat.
great, brother. It was great. It was great.
Thank you all. I'll meet you again next week. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Yeah, just holler at me, brother. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
See you.
All right, Mr. Apologist, do you have any anything you want to ask me, or comments, or?
Sure. I've been listening to some of the things that you said. So I find it interesting, but I'm not really into atheism, so I'll just leave it at that. But I'm curious to know what your take on the Bible is, because that's where my expertise is.
Well, it depends. Well, right now I love the Bible. I like to read it, study it, but I like it for its historical content and philosophy, not so much as, I believe this is literal truth or anything, but I'm a history freak, man. I love history. There you go. But to me, the Bible's like any other ancient document. It's got a history to study. You can confirm some, you can discredit some of it. It's like anything else, I guess.
What are the things that you think? What are the things in the Bible that you think are discredited historically? I'm just curious to know.
Story wise, you could argue like the Exodus and stuff like that. Like
I think you mentioned you mentioned about Moses, so maybe we can go past that. What about other things apart from Moses?
Parts of the Bible, like for example, like I live in the Bible Belt of the United States. Like I'm literally an atheist swimming in an ocean of Christians. I was one. Yeah.
I'm aware of the southern states of the Bible Belt.
Yeah, almost every Christian alive today believes that, like, just for example, one of the most famous stories in the Bible, the story of where they bring the adulteress before Jesus to test him, and he says, "Let he who has no sin cast the first stone." So that story, So that story doesn't appear in a single original Greek manuscript. It's all added centuries later into the Latin manuscripts and the King James. Stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's just one example.
Yes, but that being said, so we know that the Bible has a lot of these fallacies and a lot of these problems. I don't deny this, because as a Muslim, I believe that the Bible, even though it may have originally been from God, and we are told in the Quran that God revealed the Torah, the Taurat, and the Gospel, the Injil, and the Psalms, the Zabur. But we are also told that, over the ages, man has corrupted the Bible, or corrupted the Torah, the Injil, and the Zabur, to the point that it can no longer be verified historically. And that is why God sent this book, the Holy Quran, right? So the God revealed this book to the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. I don't know how much do you know actually about Islam. Maybe you can share with me your knowledge
I
about
will
Islam.
say this: I've done some studies on the Quran. I've read some of it, but I haven't done like scholarly studies of the Quran. But I will say it's way newer than the Bible too, so I would expect it to be more accurate. But I will say the Quran seems to be much more bulletproof written than the Bible is. But the Quran's kind of one big story too, if I'm not mistaken, where the Bible's like a bunch of different opinions kind of crammed together. Bunch of different versions of the same story.
I don't disagree with you with regards to the Bible, because to me the Bible is just filled with stories of men and revelation, because there are some things in the Bible which I find truth in the Quran as well, because the Quran mentions this and reconfirms what the Bible says. But at the same time, I find nonsense in the Bible which I can't accept as the word of God. Like, for example, the story of Ezekiel 23. That's totally disgusting to me. Okay, as a Muslim, I find it totally disgusting that such a passage is actually existent in the so-called word of God, as well as certain acts of the stories that they ascribe to the prophets. Like, for example, Lot and his daughters. Right? According to the stories in the Bible, the two daughters of Lot, they made their father drunk, and they had
God, I know where you're going with this.
Yes. Okay, so that is, for me, as a Muslim, I believe that the Prophet Lot Sallallahu Alaihi Salam was a true prophet of God, and it would be unbecoming for a prophet of God to do something such a disgusting act of incest, especially when he's got drunk.
The Old Testament and the Bible is pretty obsessed with incest for some reason. I don't know.
Exactly. So that is why I reject the Bible that is why as a Muslim I reject the Bible. Okay. But that being said, that doesn't mean that doesn't mean that there aren't any truths in the Bible. And perhaps of course, I'm sure that you have some of your reservations about the existence of God and so on. But I invite you to read the Quran and study its contents. There are some stories in the Quran which are similar to the Bible, but at the same time, they're not similar in the sense that the Quran corrects the information that is in the Bible. Like, for example, okay, I'll give you one example. Okay, historically, okay, during the time of Joseph, the king of Egypt at the time is not called the Pharaoh, because the term Pharaoh came much later in the 23rd century, in the 23rd dynasty. If you look it up, I'm not really clear on the details, but the alleged time period of Joseph, when Joseph was in Egypt, that particular king of Egypt at the time, the title Pharaoh did not exist. In the Bible, the king of Egypt during the time of Joseph was called Pharaoh. Okay, this is a historical anachronism. Okay. And of course, during the time of Moses, yes, the king of Egypt at the time is called Pharaoh, because that came much later. In the Quran, however, the king of Egypt during the time of Joseph was called Al-Malik. Al-Malik means the king. It's not, and during the time of Moses, the king of Egypt during the time of Moses is given the title Pharaoh, Fir'aun. So the Quran actually makes a distinction between the time periods of Joseph and the time period of Moses. Wouldn't you find it interesting that the Quran avoids the mistake that is in the Bible? Because in the Bible, both kings of Egypt during the time of Joseph and even during the time of Moses, the Bible uses the term Pharaoh for both kings. And yet the Quran distinguishes the difference between the two time periods. So,
if I'm not mistaken, I'm sorry, I thought you were done. I believe the Quran also corrects Jesus, where Jesus said the mustard seed is the smallest seed on the planet, but it's not. I think it's an orchid seed, if I'm not mistaken. But I think the Quran even corrects that. And it says the mustard seed is not the smallest.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I would give you.
So there's Yeah, so that's one thing you can look into while reading the Quran. I'm an apologist, so I'm not a da'i. A da'i is someone who calls people to Islam and invites them to consider Islam as their religion. My role as an apologist is to just answer claims and allegations against Islam. So my role is slightly a bit different, and I know, of course, I would love if you were to consider Islam as your religion, inshallah, in the future. But that's not my role. Okay, so I think that's more of Smith's role. Okay, so anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
So by the way, if you want a copy of this, I'm actually giving out free copies of the Quran in English to anyone who wants it, or anyone who's looking for it. So all you need to do is actually go to my website, which I will put in the comments in the description of this video later once you leave, and then you can just go to that website and you just fill in your name and your address, and I will send it to you for free. No charges, no shipping charges. Yes, yeah. If you want this, I don't know whether you can get a copy of this in your part of the world, but I can always send this to you, inshallah.
Yeah, you can get them here. I don't have one. But...
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that'd be great. I think it'll be a good start if you look into Islam, especially because yeah, we both know that the Bible is corrupted. So I have no disagreements with you with regards to the Bible. I mean, the Bible is totally lost, and it's truth. The truth of the Bible is already buried so deep that no one can actually find it anymore, because it has been covered by lies, doctrines, all sorts of stories, all sorts of
I
nonsense.
completely agree with you.
Yeah,
but there
on
was a
that, I
time
think
I
we
would have
agree.
argued that wasn't true.
Yes. On that, I think we both can agree. That is why you chose to leave Christianity. Yeah, but I personally think that you should actually explore Islam, because I believe that Islam offers a better alternative to Christianity, and also in Islam, we actually affirm a lot of things which Christians do, but in a different sense and in a more logical sense. Like, for example, we believe that Jesus was a prophet. We believe that Jesus is a human prophet. But we don't believe that Jesus is the Son of God. We don't believe that Jesus is divine. We certainly don't believe that God came out from a vagina of a woman. Okay. And we certainly don't believe that God is made of three parts. Okay. We don't believe in the so-called Son, Father, and the Son and the Holy Spirit. We don't believe that. Okay. So
I'm
this is
not even
something
sure
I
the
think
Bible says that.
yeah. The Bible doesn't have it either. Yeah. So
I think
that's
John has one explicit mention that most people go off of, and in John, the book of John, it says all the three, there are three in heaven, and the three are one.
Yeah.
But that's John.
That verse. First John 5:7. I know, but that verse has been proven to be an insertion from the original manuscript. It was actually
I
footnote.
would agree.
It was actually, right. So anything else you want to say before you leave? I mean, I don't want to hold you up any longer, because you have been here for like 1.5 hours.
I'm free, man. I'm off work. I'm good if you are. About the only thing I can think of that I would ask from like an apology standpoint, like if I was asking you, would be I can't remember the verse, the surah, but it says they asked Muhammad or Allah's messenger when the last hour would come, and do you know which one I'm talking about already? Or?
Not really. Maybe you can clarify that. Yeah.
Oh well, Muhammad says, I will tell you. He said, this child will not taste death before the last hour has come.
Okay. All right.
So I would ask about that one, because the Bible also says that when Jesus was asked when the last, they phrased it different, but Jesus said almost the same thing in the Bible. He said, there are some standing here that will not taste death before they say the kingdom of
I can answer that. I can answer that.
Yeah.
So basically the hadith was someone asking the Prophet about the last hour. When would the last hour be? And the Prophet said, your last hour will not come until this boy has received his last hour. So the Prophet here wasn't referring to the last hour as in the judgment day or in the end times. It was referring to the boy's death, to the boy's time of expiration. So basically what the Prophet is saying, that he doesn't know when the last hour would be, and no prophet of God is given this information. If you read in the Bible, even if you read in the New Testament, Jesus said that even I do not know the last hour. Only the God the Father knows. I don't remember the exact verse, but I think it's in John, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, it's in a few.
So,
There's just different versions, different wordings in different gospels. In Mark, it says.
So yes, exactly. So a true prophet of God will not be given the last hour, and they will be honest about it. I mean, this is you can find this in the Bible and in the Quran, even in Islamic tradition, you will find the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam himself didn't know when the last hour would be, because they are not given that knowledge. They only know they can only preach and tell you that the last hour is definitely coming. But when would the last hour be? We don't know. Even the prophets do not know, because they are not given that information. That's all. Okay.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah. So that polemic that you heard actually is actually something which unfortunately Christians, they twist the meaning of the hadith. It's from a hadith, by the way. It's not from the Quran. It's a story from the hadith. Hadith, by the way, are reports and narrations concerning the actions and the words of the Prophet himself. Okay, which is distinct from the Quran. Okay. So this narration is actually manipulated by some Christians to as though the Prophet was talking about definitively about the last hour, and as the Prophet is saying that the last hour would be when the little boy grows up, but that was not what the Prophet meant. You see?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, the Bible's a little more confusing. See, when Jesus says it, he says he describes the last hour, and he says there are some here that will not taste death before the hour comes. But when he says no one, only God knows the hour, I think he's just describing the actual hour, because he said, I don't know if you'll be awake or asleep, but he was saying the end was coming within this lifetime. I just don't know exactly when.
I think that was Paul. That was Paul who wrote that, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I would say Mark. Well, I was reading that from Mark, but I think he drew it from Paul, like in Romans Greek.
No, I'm not sure. I need to check again. It could be one. It could be in Paul, one of Paul's letters. I don't remember.
Yeah. Paul agreed with Jesus a lot. That's why I think Mark was pulled a lot from Paul, because Paul would have definitely been earlier than when Mark came out, or when Mark was written. So it's kind of, but that's the whole, that's the intrigue to me, is trying to figure out what was when and who said what and what might have really happened. That's the whole historical investigation there.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. So I don't know. Do you still want to stay around, or do you want to leave? It's up to you.
Well, I mean, it's up to you. I'm still good to go if you are. I enjoy the.
I might want to close the stream now, because it's already 1 hour and 34 minutes. I need to go elsewhere. Sorry.
Yeah,
but I would love to have this conversation. Yeah. I think your battery is also running out. So yeah, I mean, I would love to have this conversation with you, by the way, Jesse. Maybe in a different, separate discussion from Smith's. Okay.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So yeah. So I'm going to wrap up the stream soon. So maybe
Awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give me something to eat anyway. So.
All right. Yeah. I mean, sorry, I can't keep you any longer, because it's like 1 hour now, 1 hour and 35 minutes now.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, well, all right, my brother. Well, it was great meeting you guys. Okay. And we'll catch you next time.
Great to meet you too. Yeah. So if you want to go on my live stream, all you need to do is just go onto my channel. I will set up another live stream. I always do this every weekend. Okay. It's an open Q&A live stream. Just click on the link, and then you can jump on it, and yeah, we can have a discussion again.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump on there and give you a follow and everything.
Yeah, sure. If you give me a follow, that'd be great. You know my channel, right? The Muslim Pro. That's my channel.
Yeah. I'll get you one.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's my channel. Right. Yeah. All right. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, my brother. I'm gonna jump off then.
Thank you. Likewise. Thank you.
Have a good one. Again. If I can figure out how to get
Same
off.
to you. Same to you. Right. Okay. All right. So yeah. So thank you, Jesse, for coming on to this live stream. It was a very interesting discussion between Jesse and Smith. So as I said earlier on in the live stream, I was elected to play host to the both of them while they discuss on the concept of God. So I guess it's 1 hour and 36 minutes, but I think I can spare another 10 minutes if we want to continue the usual program, which is basically to do the Q&A live stream, right? Oh my, there are a lot of comments here. Maybe I should read each and every one of them first. There's some trolls here as well, so I will skip the troll comments, and I'll see which are the ones more relevant. Okay. Cremation is a challenge to God, but forget. Not sure in what context was that comment made. Can God escape a black hole? Why would God want to escape a black hole if He created the black hole in the first place? There's nothing to escape from. God is not so weak that He needs to escape from anything. Okay. Yes, traveling as like does and time stops. Okay, whatever. I mean, I think you're reading too much fiction, Brian. Okay, let me see now. Yeah, I wrote this. Are you sure that you're a Christian, Brian? I still pose the same question to you, Brian, because you know what? I'm beginning to suspect whether you're really a Christian or not. The way that you ask questions doesn't seem to me that doesn't make it apparent to me that you're a Christian. You sound more like an atheist. Okay, and I don't mean this as a slight upon you. I'm just curious to know why do you ask these sort of questions when you claim to be a Christian, right? Okay, let me see now. There's so many comments here. Yes, I am. I am wearing a blancon. Yeah, this is a Javanese blancon from Jakarta. This is the Jakarta version. Okay. There is the one from I think there is another version, a different version from I'm not sure, Surabaya or somewhere else on the island, but I don't recall, and I don't have that version anyway. So the one that was sent to me is this version, the Jakarta version. Okay. First of all, my name is not MENJ. Secondly, I don't think I would ever want to debate that idiot again. He's too obsessed with himself, and I think he has no morals, even though he talks about morality in our last debate, but he doesn't reflect any morality or any ethics. You know, I mean, munching on a sandwich while having an opening statement is not something very moral or ethical. Okay, I mean, I didn't show any disrespect to my opponent, so why did this guy show such disrespect to me? So he said he's too much of an idiot and too full of himself to to be engaged with intellectually, and I don't think he should be talked to again ever. Okay, I said Zabur, and Zabur is Psalms. Okay, Psalms. I think Daf Zaim already answered it. Yeah, Zabur is the scripture given to David. Yeah, one of the prophets. Yeah, it's the Psalms. The Psalms. Okay. So that is the Zabur. The Zabur is the Psalms. Okay. We know it in Arabic as Zabur. Okay. I think there's a lot of these comments. Unsubscribe. Yeah, thank you, Jesse. Thank you very much. Thank you for subscribing to me. I really do appreciate it. Oh, by the way, we have 11 viewers right now. Mashallah. It's amazing. Okay. Right, let me see now. Can you prove or disprove God? You can't disprove God either. You can't prove that God doesn't exist. Okay. Can you prove to me that God doesn't exist and that the world exists out of nothing? Okay. This is something I asked Godless Girl and Tijam. Both of them avoided this question, and yeah, I even asked this question to Randolph in a way, but Randolph was too gentlemanly to answer. So it was quite a gentleman. So I didn't really push the question much to him. But for Godless Girl and Tijam, I pushed the question to them, and they avoided it with the usual BS, not the usual typical BS that militant atheists try to justify their theology, because whether atheists want to admit it or not, they actually have their own theology. Okay, theology is basically a belief in God, right? So they do have a belief in God, meaning they do believe that God doesn't exist. So that is their theology. Okay. Good Lord. Okay, I don't know what that comment, in what context was that comment made. Okay, so the only evidence we have for the existence of such a being is words on a page or spoken by a person. I will call out your BS by saying, did the tree or did the mountains or did the earth or did the sky or did the heavens or did the planets exist out of nothing? Yeah. So you need to explain to me, how is it possible for planets, for trees, for birds, for the sky, for the earth to exist out of a vacuum, if there were no singularity or if there were no consciousness before these things come into existence. It's really that simple. Until today, I have never gotten a real answer from Christians. From atheists. Okay, I don't think atheists have the capability to answer these questions apart from their, uh, I would say, their conjectures. Okay, and I would say that Jesse just now, he's one of the more honest persons because he just simply says, I don't know. And that is a very honest answer. You don't get that often from militant atheists, because militant atheists are going to say, oh, the science does this, the physics does this, that's that. Oh, the earth, we came from evolution, blah, blah, blah. All this mumbo jumbo, gish galloping and scientific terminologies which they themselves don't understand, and they just throw at their opponent. Okay. So that is how the militant kind. I'm not saying that Jesse did this. I'm not saying that Chris, our previous guest, Chris, did this, because I find Chris. There was a previous guest, by the way, by the name of Chris. So Chris and Jesse, I think they are the more sincere atheists. Okay, they're not the militant type like T-Jam or Godless Girl. Okay, because these militant bastards and bitches, they don't understand where they are coming from. They don't understand their own theology. Okay, so they don't have any evidence to show that God doesn't exist. Okay, and the absence of evidence is not evidence. Okay, so yeah, so that is my position where atheism is concerned. That is why I don't really talk about atheism, because I don't feel the need to, and I discuss more about this. My specialization is in this, so yeah, that is why I like to talk about this. I find myself talking about this more than I do talking about this. Okay, because I believe that the Bible contains certain truths that the Quran actually affirms, and the Quran espouses certain truths that the Bible does not have. So for me, this is a proof of the divine origin of the Quran. Alhamdulillah. So yeah, it's already 1 hour and 44 minutes. I might need to end the stream soon. So I'm not sure whether I should, because there's like 10 viewers right now, or 9 viewers right now. Wow, that's quite a lot. I mean, at one point there were actually 12 viewers. Alhamdulillah. So yeah. Let me see now. I'm just going to probably babble a bit about I don't know, some of the comments here. Let me see. Let me see if there are any. I'm not going to read any troll comments, because I don't think. Let me see if there are any comments which are worth sharing. Okay, let me see. I don't think there are any, because most of them are all troll comments. Okay, with the exception of a few from brother, some comments from brother Dav Zaim is very helpful, and Brian, I'm not sure what his religion is now. I'm really confused. I'm really confused about your religion, Brian. Okay. No problem. You can go. What, are you chasing me away from my own stream? Oh, by the way, if you want to come and have, I don't mind having you on right now and have a conversation. I know I told Jesse that I need to leave, but I don't mind giving space for you if you want to come on. Oh, I think we have someone here actually. Hello.
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum salam, brother. You are from which country, Baki?
India.
Oh, mashallah, brother. Yeah. How are you?
I'm fine. I have a question.
Yes. So, Aki, yeah, you have anything to say, Aki?
Do you have any contemporary evidence regarding the existence of angels or jinns?
Contemporary evidence regarding the existence of angels or jinn? What? Maybe you can clarify that. Maybe you can clarify on what you mean by that. You mean contemporary evidence for the unseen?
Yes.
The answer is that we don't have any evidence, because these things are metaphysical and beyond the realm of science. Okay? So we don't have the tools or the scientific means to research or to measure as to the existence of the unseen, like angels or jinns or anything that bumps in the night. Okay, so these are all metaphysical. These are all beyond the realm of our limited human understanding. So there doesn't need to be any scientific evidence for this. If we believe in the Quran, we believe that the Quran is divine, we believe that Islam is the truth, then why do we need evidence for something which is unseen?
So isn't it a blind belief?
Sorry?
Is it a blind belief?
It is not a blind belief in the sense that we believe in the Quran. We believe that the Quran is proven empirically, and we believe that the Quran is historically accurate. We believe that the Quran is scientifically compatible. So if we believe that the Quran is the truth, why would the Quran lie to us about the existence of angels and jinn? Why do we need to find scientific evidence for angels and jinn when the Quran already has proven itself to be a text of truth? So this is my position.
So if someone denies the existence of angels or jinns as there is no proof for them, will he still be a Muslim?
No, he will not be a Muslim, because this is part of our pillars of Iman. Okay, the 6 pillars of Iman is to believe in the existence of the angels and the unseen. So if you don't believe in the existence of the unseen as espoused in the Quran, then I'm afraid you cannot call yourself a Muslim anymore.
Okay, thanks.
All right. So this is my position. Okay. So yeah. So you have anything else to add?
No, I will come later again.
All right. Okay. So thank you. Yeah. So if you want to join the stream, you can, or you have any other questions, you can. But I'm going to wrap up very soon, because it's already 1 hour and 48 minutes. Right. There's actually 10 viewers right now. Mashallah. Wow. That's quite a lot. Okay. So yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for asking that question. Okay. I do appreciate it very, very much. Okay. And yeah. So let me see now. I think Ben of Hawks. The lack of evidence for leprechauns are equally as poor as it is for Owa. We know that leprechauns are something which does not exist, because there's empirical evidence that they are fictional characters. So why would you want to compare leprechauns to that of God? That's just stupid and idiotic. That's just being malicious, okay, and doesn't make any sense to me. Right? Thank you so much again, sir. Yes, likewise, Jesse. I really enjoy talking to you. Okay, even though our time may be brief compared to your time with Smith, but I would love to have you on the show again. Maybe we can talk about something else apart from the existence of God. Maybe we can talk about the Bible, and we can talk about the historical accuracy of the Quran and so on, inshallah. Because those are my my expertise. Okay, my how would I put it? My niche, my niche of expertise. Okay, so I don't bother myself with atheism, because I just don't want to talk about atheism. To me, I don't need to, because like my name says, is that. Okay, so yeah. All right. Okay. That would be great. You can teach me more Quran. Yes, inshallah, inshallah. Yes, of course. You're always welcome. You're always welcome here. And I don't mind sharing what I know about the Quran. And like I said, if you want a free copy of the Quran, please wait until I update my. Actually, it's in the description of this video. You can actually click on the link, and you will get and fill up the form, okay, and you will get a free copy of this. Okay, just fill out the form, your name, your address. That's it. That's all I need from you, so that I can send this copy of the Quran to you. Okay, so yeah, it's a translation of the Quran in English by A. Yusuf Ali. Okay, Abdullah Yusuf Ali. Right. So yeah. Okay. I will call myself a Christian agnostic. I don't know what that means, because if you are agnostic, then you're not a Christian. If you are a Christian, then you're not an agnostic. I mean, this is an oxymoron. Okay? You can't be a Christian atheist or an atheist Christian. It doesn't make any sense. Any more than I can claim to be a Muslim agnostic or an atheist Muslim. It doesn't make any sense. It's two different diametrically opposed ideologies. Okay, it's either you are a Christian or you are an agnostic. You can't choose either one, but you can't choose both. You can't take both. You have to choose one. Okay. To me, it doesn't make any sense, right? So, so my question to you would be: are you an agnostic or are you a Christian? Because you can't be both. It's impossible for you to be both. Okay. It's like putting a square peg into a round hole. Yeah. Okay. You can't fit this. Okay. It will never fit. Okay. So, yeah, I guess I'm going to have to end the stream. I'm going to just wait for another 10 minutes to hit the 2-hour mark, and then I will end the stream, right? Because I just want to have the time, the time credits, so that this video would be considered to have lasted more than 2 hours, I guess. And yeah, I will get some of the benefits from the algorithm, because Google loves long videos. I actually wanted to end the stream much earlier, but I had this great conversation with Jesse, so the time got a bit I got a bit sidetracked, and the time became a bit longer. Of course, I don't blame Jesse, because he's a very nice person. He's a very gentlemanly person. So I hope to see you next week. I hope, Jesse. Yeah. So I'm just going to wait it out for another 8 minutes and babble along until the 2-hour mark is reached. Okay. Waalaikum salam warahmatullah. If you want to come on the stream, please do. I can I can have another guest here. Yeah, why not, right? If you want to join and ask your questions, go ahead. Okay. Nak cakap dalam bahasa Melayu pun boleh. If you want to speak in English also, it's fine. It's up to you. Okay. Oh, it's getting a bit hot in here because I switch off my aircon. Okay, I actually have this problem with my, it's a bit embarrassing to mention this, but I have a problem with my underside, my underarm here. I've been in pain, suffering from a slight bout of pain for the past 2 days. I don't know what's happening, but what I've done is that I've taken some painkiller meds. So far, the pain has eased somewhat, but I really don't know what's causing it. I need to, I guess I will need to go to the clinic when I'm free. But right now, I'm in the midst of hunting for a new job. So, a pain like this will not stop me from, a pain like this will not stop me from finding a new job. So I have to focus on getting the new job first, right? So, wow, 11 viewers right now, Masya Allah. Right. Wow, bang, nampaknya kurus sikit. Are you sure? Betul ke saya nampak kurus? Saya rasa saya makin gemuk sebab saya punya berat badan tak berubah. Berat badan saya tak berubah. Okay. Okay, so my weight has not changed. So I don't know on what justification do you say that I look thinner, because my weight hasn't actually went down. Okay. So I wouldn't know. Okay. I wouldn't know whether I'm actually thinner or otherwise. Okay. Maybe maybe I look thinner because of the camera. I don't know. Maybe the camera is playing tricks on you. So, but I can tell you for a fact that I have not become thinner, because my weight is pretty much still the same. Okay. I think it's just the camera playing tricks on you. Okay. So yeah. What else? Anyone else wants to come onto live stream? I can take one guest before I go. Okay. If anyone wants to join into the live stream, you have the URL in the chat. You can click on that and you can join. I can only take one more person, because I'm going to end the stream soon. Okay. I'm not going to extend this beyond 2 hours. The only reason why I'm going to extend it to 2 hours is because it's only 5 minutes away, and I want to take advantage of the YouTube algorithm. Okay, because YouTube loves long form videos, loves long content. So this is I think this is a YouTuber trick that not many people knows about. So well, I do this for a living, so yeah, I should know what I'm talking about, right? So okay, so okay. Oh yeah, by the way, the video last night where I was testing my mic and my audio, I've already put it into members only. I've turned it into a members only video. So if anyone wants to watch that, they will need to be a paying member. So I would encourage anyone who subscribes to my channel to join my membership. This is the URL. Okay, the URL is right at the bottom. Because right now at the moment I don't actually have a lot of members. I mean paying members. Honestly, I don't know why. Even though I have like 4,000 subs, 4,000 plus subs, alhamdulillah, but it's in disparity with the number of paid members that join my channel. So I mean the numbers are odd because I have like overwhelming number of subscribers, but those who are actually willing to pay for content is very low. It's not even 10% or 20% of the total amount of my subscribers. Okay, all I want is at least 20% of my subscribers to be paying members. Okay, so if I can get at least 20% to join my membership as a paid member at the lowest tier, which is by the way about $1 USD. So right now I have about 4,000 subs, right? So let's say we take 20% to be part of the paying membership, right? So that would mean at least 800 people would become members, right? So 800 USD times $1 plus, I think it's about $1 plus $1 USD for the lowest tier. That's 800 USD. 800 USD in Malaysian ringgit would be 3,000 ringgit, 3,500 ringgit. Yeah. So yeah, all I need 800 paying members to take the lowest tier of my membership, of my paid membership feature, and just pay $1 USD per month. And if I can get 800 people to subscribe as paid or to pay with to pay as a paid member, then in a matter of months I can do this full time. Okay, because 3,500 ringgit is quite a lot of money, and that's not as much as my day job, obviously, but I can make by while I find other ways to increase my income from apologetics. And I have every single intention whatsoever that in the next 2 years I will move towards becoming a full-time apologist, meaning I would have to be a full-time YouTuber, I guess. But obviously I'm not going to rely on Patreons or on just Patreons or just paid memberships, because I'm going to do far more important work than just focusing on, or far more ways to monetize my channel apart from just relying on YouTube paid membership or Patreon, right? But I think it would be a great start if I can jump up my Patreon and my membership, inshallah. So it's 1 minute away before I say goodbye to all of you. So yeah, 1 hour and 59 minutes and about 30 seconds left before I end the stream. There are about 6 viewers here. Previously at its peak there were around 12 viewers. That's quite a lot. Alhamdulillah, that's a lot. Yeah, I'm just waiting for the countdown. Okay, so now there's 7 viewers now. Okay. That's awesome. Yeah, but I'm going to have to end the stream soon. Okay, for those of you joining, thank you for joining the stream, but I'm going to have to end the stream soon because it has been a very long 2 hours stream, and I'm actually going to have to do something else right now. So yeah, it's already 2 hours. So yeah, so I guess that's it. Thank you very much for joining my live stream. I thank you, Brother Smith, as well as Jesse from Alabama, United States, for coming on this platform, on my platform, and the discussion was very civil throughout, and I really enjoyed listening to that, even though I myself am not really interested in atheism, but I find it to be very respectful. The discourse was civil, and both sides were clearly respectful of each other, and I appreciate that very, very much. And I think that's very important in any religious discourse, regardless whether you are Muslim, Jew, Christian, atheist, Buddhist, Hindu, or whatever. Okay, so thank you very much for joining the live stream. If you like my video, please do not forget to like this video. If you would like to share this video, please do share this to everyone that you know. Your sharing will help increase the number of subs, and hopefully more people will want to join my membership. The membership URL is at the bottom, paid membership. Okay, and I hope that this this show right now has been beneficial to all of you. So inshallah, I'll see you again in the next live stream, which I think I will set for next week. And yeah, I will do that maybe shortly after this stream has ended. So thank you very much for joining this show, and I'll see you again in my next live stream. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.